guys? Welcome to Stanford with Ben. I'm really excited because the past few episodes we've been focusing a lot in sales, how to make money, how to help people, how to influence people for the with your product, service, or program. And today we have one of my really good friends, which he has a lot of experience in the sales industry. He's been there for a while. And I'm really excited to get his feedback, his tips, and everything so you guys can get better in sales and just dominate and make a lot of money and help a lot of people as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got Taylor Weeks in the house. How you doing, brother?
Man, excited to be here, Ben. Thanks for having me.
No, dude, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. It's a Saturday, so there's some stuff with family, but you took the time, so I appreciate for you coming.
Of course.
Let me give you a little bit of an intro of who the heck is Taylor, because he's a stud. We met, about 6 months ago?
Yeah.
It was poker.
And you won it all.
I did. It was my first time, and I beat everybody.
There's like 50 people there, and somehow Ben came out the number one winner. It was
Yeah,
incredible.
right now. I only take dubs, so that's what I do, bro. And then I started trash talking everybody right away, and everybody got pissed at me.
I
fun.
know. That was pretty good. I got to tell you, you did a good job.
You were there for just like a few minutes. And
Oh, man. I got out quick, so he took my money, and then I left.
Anyway, Taylor's been 10 years in the sales industry helping businesses grow with their funding. He's made over 150 million in sales for the company. He's been married for 5 years. Your wife is Miss, what is Miss?
Mrs. Utah.
Mrs. Utah.
Yeah.
Is she a model as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And a
that's
business
awesome.
owner. She does a lot.
You guys are a power couple for sure.
I appreciate that.
And endurance athlete. You've done Spartan races. You're always running. Dude, every time I go to like your freaking story on Instagram, you're like with the weight vest and just giving a talk or something and sunny and everything. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we got Taylor in the house. Anything you want to add, brother, so people can get to know you more?
Thank you for that intro. It's been a fun journey over the last 10 years, and it's funny because I never started my career thinking that I was going to be a salesperson. It was something that I basically came to me because I was sick of the fact that I was working jobs and I try to give everything 100%. I try to give everything my best. And I found myself working these hourly jobs. It didn't matter if I worked harder than the person next to me. I was still making the same or
You
less.
always had a cap.
Always had a cap. And there was no way I could change that myself. And so ended up doing door-to-door sales, and that was the first time that
For which company?
so it was Rocky Mountain Insulation. So I was selling insulation.
Really?
Yeah, it's easiest sell ever because you go in, people had to pay for it up front. It's blowing insulation in their ceiling or putting it in in the walls. But it reduced the amount of energy that was leaving their house. So it reduced their energy bills.
Everybody needs isolation in their house and stuff. So.
Everyone needs it, and a lot of people. It's interesting because you find a lot of home builders. That's an area that, because most people aren't looking to see, hey, did you put as much as you're supposed to? That's an area they cut corners to save money. Now, who does that hurt? The person buying the home, because now you have your heat and you have your cold air leaving the house. Anyways, not important. It was a pretty easy sell once you got the first person. So everyone would look at that and go, oh, you're telling me the utility company's going to pay me back, and then I also get a tax credit. Seems too good to be true. Well, eventually someone would say yes, one of the neighbors, and then after that,
word of mouth.
Oh, so easy. Just, hey, I did this for the Johnsons over there.
For how long were you there?
So I did that for a year.
Oh, just 1 year.
Yeah, and so started in Colorado, went to Vegas, and that was my first time making $1,000 in a week, and I was like, I'm rich. I've done it. This is what I'm gonna do.
How old were you?
19.
19. You were young.
Yeah, man. So it was cool. Because I started working when I was 16, and from there, the hard part was my manager. He had his whole family there with him, so he had a couple kids. He had his wife, and I thought, this though. Moving locations, bringing my family with me, even though I'm making money, that's not how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
I want to actually be able to settle down and have roots for myself. So came back to Utah, started going to school, went back to doing an hourly job, and I was reminded how just terrible it was for me.
Yeah.
So anyways, ended up very luckily getting the opportunity that I'm with right now. And it's been quite a ride because it's forced me to level up as an individual, working with business owners and executives of companies, and learning how to not only speak their language but create value for them where they're already successful. They already have overall our business model. So it's been a interesting ride. It's been amazing. It's taught me more than going to school and getting my master's degree. Like truly being in the field has been an absolutely incredible journey. So excited to tell a little bit more about that with you guys today.
No, it's gonna be fun, dude. I mean, we recorded an episode as I was telling you, my business partner Derek, and talking about sales and kind of like the mindset and stuff. Because a lot of people don't like sales, and for me, I'm like, dude, like you're gonna struggle in life if you don't know how to sell. Because it's not just selling people. I mean, as I said, you're always selling something yourself, to get friends, a message. You're always preaching something, a product, a service, or program. To get a job, to dating, you're selling yourself in some sort of way. So he's like, you're always doing that. It's a lifestyle. So I want to get your perspective on how important is this for you, and do you think for society, the importance of sales for a company, entrepreneurship, and everything?
You know, it's interesting. As I talk to a lot of business owners, I have found that a lot of them have either an engineering background or a sales background, because they're builders. They understand how to either build and create things, or they understand the importance of revenue and sales. And so that's on the business world. But I think about sales in anything I do. If I want to go get Chinese food and my wife wants to go get Italian, I've got to sell her on why, right? Why Chinese food is the right choice here, and it's in anything. You're not going to always agree with every person you meet, and that's not a bad thing. It's okay to have conversations and conflicts, and be able to talk and negotiate in a way that you can come up with the best possible solution or plan where everyone wins. And I think
sorry to interrupt
you,
but
please.
That's huge, because something that we've been talking a lot in sales, when we talk about sales, is doing the right thing, and that's why we want to sell certain stuff. It's not to screw people over, which a lot of people think, or to manipulate people. Is to do it in the right way, you know, and that's what you're saying. So you can win, and everybody can win at the same time. And I think that's a huge point when we talk about sales. Sorry for interrupting you, but wanted to pinpoint that.
I'm glad you did, because it's such an important key. I think if you're not happy with salespeople, it's because someone sold you a product that truly was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Sold you something you didn't need.
They have a bad experience with it. Yeah.
Well, they made an emotional purchase, and then they realized, oh, that was a mistake. And we've all done that. We've seen the ad on Facebook, and we think, oh, I do need this pen. Has 110 different colors. It gets here and go, why did I spend $50 on this? Right. So we've all done that. But the reality is there are so many great products out there
100%.
That without salespeople really taking the risk to go and share it with others, there's so many people and businesses that would never know it's even there. And you think about a lot of the products, technology that's come out that's made our lives easier and better. That the only reason why we know about those things is because people have taken the opportunity to go sell and share those products. So what about you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on sales.
Dude, I think it's huge, and I'm really excited because we're also going to talk about closing and the processes and why people buy and needs and wants and everything. But dude, I think it's an ethical thing, like sales. There's this quote that I heard a while ago, and it said that you can have the cure for cancer, but if you don't know how to market and give it to people, like it's a waste of your time. It's useless. Man. So I think sales and how to build the bridge to get to the right audience and people, I think is huge. So yeah, I make a lot of emphasis on the mindset stuff, because I think sales is all about like your mentality at the end of the day. Yeah, there's some certain strategies and things you can apply, but I think everybody should be good at sales, because I don't even use the word sales anymore. I use it like helping people.
Oh yeah.
Because everything that I try to like sell or whatever, I believe in it so much. And I see the benefit for other people of the product, service, or program, whatever, that I'm just really passionate about it. And it comes in a natural way. So I think it's a human thing to do. Yes. I think it's necessary. And if you don't know how to do it or have the social skills with people, you're going to struggle in relationships, in your jobs. You're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to be successful. There's a lot of cons to it. So I'm really excited to jump into this topic to help people get better in sales. So, well, you want to add something before we jump into the first topic?
I do, actually, because you mentioned something really interesting there. It is human to sell. And
it is, bro. It is.
That's such a powerful statement. You think about it, we're constantly selling ourselves in one way or another. If you want a new job, you have to go sell yourself to that company and tell them why you're the right individual. You want to go date somebody. You got to sell them on why you're the person they should go on a date with and give you their time, or a friendship. Because everyone's exchanging something, whether it's time or money. They're giving you something that they possess.
That's what we talked about with Derek yesterday. We said that the definition of sales is value exchange.
Boom.
It's a trade of a certain value. You give me value, I give you value in some sort of way, either time or product, service or program, whatever.
Exactly.
You know? And dude, adding to that, when we talk about sales too, oh wait, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? It was all the importance of sales.
Oh, that's okay. Just
damn it,
pause for a
so
second and it'll come to you.
It's so good. It was like such a good thought. Never mind. All right, let's just keep
That's
going.
okay. We'll go. It'll come back to you when it does.
Yeah.
Jump back.
Oh wait, this is what I was gonna say. We're always selling something with people, but you're the best salesman on your own life, because people, they sell themselves on small standards, on small goals, the self-talk you have with you and yourself. So sales is literally everything, bro. That self-conversation that you got with yourself, you're selling yourself in certain things, either good things or bad things. Oh man. So I think sales is everything, and it's everywhere too. So I'm really glad we're going to talk about this. Okay, anyway. Any other thoughts before we
I'm
jump
glad
into
you
the
brought
topic?
that piece up, because I think we'll get into that more about the fact
for sure.
because we do negotiate with ourselves, positive or negative, right? As we make decisions. So we'll get into that more, but that was a great point.
Yeah. Okay, dude, let's talk about the first one. Why people do what they do. I think understanding the psychological process of why people do what they do, why do they buy what they buy, and the decision making that happens in their brains is so important to understand that. So what's your take on it? Why do people do what they do? There's certain things for sure, there's a lot, but what's your main things for that?
So I'm going to give you I'm going to give you the scientific part of this, and then we'll talk about the sales part of it. But people really, they make choices, or they do things to satisfy 5 basic needs: survival, love and belonging, power, freedom, and fun. And so you think about that even as you look at what is that pyramid called?
Pyramid. Hierarchy of needs.
Hierarchy of needs. Thank you, Maslow's. I kept thinking Maslow's or the bell with the dog, and I was like, that's not correct. But that hierarchy of needs, right? You're really focused on first your survival and who we are as individuals, and staying here as long as we possibly can. And that's not just physically, but also our DNA. So I think that most things, especially when you think about men and women, I don't think that guys would compete at the level that they do. I don't think that this drive to go succeed and have money, and then to be able to have the things that show you have money, or for some people that make others think you have money because they want to portray a certain persona, that wouldn't happen if we didn't have this inherent need to
attract a partner, and at the same time continue to perpetuate the human race by having children and otherwise. And even for people that don't want children, it's just ingrained in us. It's part of our DNA since we were born to go and populate the earth, to go and only the strong survive. And I mean, it's truly, that's truly what it comes down to, because I think men, they look at I know this is not the best example, but they look at women, they see a pretty woman, and they think, okay, I want to procreate. I want to have kids with them, because those kids are going to have a better chance of future survival. They're going to have more opportunities, because people naturally that are better looking, they're going to get a few more opportunities versus those who don't. Right, because people just naturally are drawn to those people. And for women, they look at guys that are strong or have money and are going to be able to take care of their family. And so we know that deep down, even whether or not we tell ourselves that that's the focus of why we want certain things, why we want that car, why we want that big house, even though it's more than we need. Why? Because we believe it's going to attract certain people into our lives. You know what? Because I was just thinking about that, and I think that even when it comes to like the sexual attraction of the opposite sex or something like that, there's something deeper than that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the feeling of importance.
Right.
People want to matter. People want to feel important. Because, for example, let's talk about like attracting a partner. Mm-hmm. Why do you want to attract a partner? Because you want to feel important, because that person is going to make you feel in a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
So I think a lot of what drives people too, like the clothes that we wear, how we look, the cars that we drive. Why do I want to drive a Ford Raptor? Honestly, because it makes me look important. Like I love it. Like it makes me
And they're
think
fun
that
to
I
drive.
matter more. You know, like honestly, like when you ask enough whys and you get to the root of the problem or the why you want to do certain thing, I think people really want to matter. You know, they go to the gym because they want to attract a partner or whatever. They want to look cool and everything, but at the end of the day, they want to feel the validation from an external person or feel more important for that person, you know? So I think there's a lot that goes into it in the psychological thing. And I think it's really important to understand that, because if you don't understand what people need and what people want, I don't think you can even like offer a product or service or something. And because you got to understand where they're coming from, you got to build that bridge with the person, you got to understand their needs. And you're not just, it's not a transactional thing. You're dealing with people with emotions, with personal problems, with issues, with feelings, with certain experiences when they were raised. So it's like there's so much that goes into it when you talk about dealing with a human being, that you got to understand it, you know? And I don't think, even in sales, I don't think a lot of people take the time in order to do that, because they see it, and this is something that we talk with Derek as well, they see it as a transaction or what's in it for me.
Yes.
But they don't understand that once you take the extra mile to connect with the person, to understand their hearts, their feelings, their emotion, what do they want and need, you build their relationship. Therefore, you build loyalty, and you're playing the long-term game, which that's what you really want, to build a strong foundation within your business and your industry, and so you can kill everybody else, your competitors, you know, and you can dominate playing the long-term game.
Big time.
So I think it's so important to take the time to understand what people want and need and why they do what they do.
It's, I'm sure you've heard of Simon Sinek, but he's got a great book that talks about this called Start With Why. And he uses Apple as a great example of this. I mean, I've got an Apple iPhone. You've got an iPhone, it looks like, over there.
Why do you have that iPhone?
And it's just that Apple has done this amazing thing of connecting with people emotionally, finding out why they buy, and then really marketing a product all around that. And even though it's not cheap, there are so many people that do whatever they can to go get the next iPhone.
Yeah.
They have this emotional connection to. They've had an emotional connection to Steve Jobs, and even after he passed away, it was interesting watching how many people felt such an emotional connection to him because of his products, and cried and just felt emotionally sad that he had passed away, even though they never met him. Anyways, point of that is, you're exactly right. You have to be able to connect and understand why people do what they do. But there's people typically will buy emotionally, and then they will back that up with logic later. And
do you think that most sales and what most people do in their lives, and that drives their decisions and what they buy and everything, comes from what they actually want or from what they actually need? Or there's different products for that? Because I think like food, for example, that's something that you need to eat. But then when it comes to cars, like I want a Ferrari, I want a, you know, like what do you think is that
Well, I would say that majority of purchases are probably more of wants, and I'd say that because there's
more wants?
Yeah, I mean, there's $1 trillion in consumer credit card debt right now. That tells me that we probably are spending more on our wants than necessarily our needs.
I agree with you, especially here
In
and I
America?
would say in America or even Utah, because the material possession that you can have is bigger than any other place on earth.
Right.
Like you can work in McDonald's, for example, you're making more than 60% of like South America right away. And you have access to a lot of stuff. You have access to a lot of financing and stuff.
Right.
So that opens the door for get more of what you truly want.
Right.
You know? You see kids that they're broke, but they're trying to look that they're rich because they want to look like that, you know? So
Right. And
that's interesting.
And I think some of that too is there's a definite gap in financial education on how to. There's a gap in financial education. I think there's also a gap in just being willing to be patient enough for the things you truly want. And so I know we all want things now, and I look at it in a pretty simple way. people, we've all made purchases that we regretted later. That's because we buy with emotion and we usually back it up with logic. If the next day you can't back it up with logic, then you're probably going to have some regret. We've all done that. We've all bought something and said, oh, why did I do that? You wake up the next day. I didn't really want that. But that's where our job comes in to go, and if you're going to sell a product, only sell a product. And Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, talks about this. He said, if you're going to sell something, only sell something you would personally buy. And I agree with that 100%.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
Because you're going to have passion and you're going to feel good about pushing a customer towards making a purchase, because sales customer, you have to, and that's what our sales process is. It's helping navigate them through the different questions and objections that come up to ultimately signing on the dotted line. Now, why are we doing this? Because we know at the end of the day, it's going to do something positive for them, make their life.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's our next point. It was the closing part, that they having persistence. Because again, it's not just like being a dick or being like, oh, I just want the money just from you or something. It's because like, if you believe in your product so much, I mean, let me just read this quote real quick, because it's exactly what you're talking about. It's from Jay Abraham. It says, if you believe in your product or service, you have a moral obligation to do everything you can to get it into your customer's hands. And I truly believe that. Like, for example, like for what you do in your business, I'm pretty sure you're like really persistent and stuff, because you know that you offer the best funding to businesses and that you can actually help them. And you truly believe that.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So it comes from a good place in your heart, you know?
Man, I believe I believe in economic growth. I believe in the U.S. economy, and I realize that our role, we are helping push the economy forward. We're helping create jobs. We're helping do all these things that I know make people's lives better, and I know that because 10 years doing this, you get customers who come back and say, man, so grateful that we did XYZ with you. We've been able to accomplish this or that as a result. And so you start to see the real impact of the revenue growth, the real impact of the jobs created, the real impact of the states and counties they live in, how they've been able to enhance or improve those areas. And a lot of the people that work for those companies will never know that we had involvement. That doesn't matter to me. It's great to see that I'm making a greater impact than I could just by myself. But the same thing for your business. I mean, I loved, as you were telling me about 20U and just the mission behind the company. I thought it was incredible and a great reason to want to go share that. Talk about your mission.
Dude, I believe in the same thing. I'm always selling our message and selling 20U, because I don't think there's anything more important that people need to know in this world rather than their purpose and living a life with urgency. And I truly believe that, because I've seen it in my life, and that message has changed and saved my life. And I've seen it in hundreds, if not thousands of people. So I'm going to go to like the ends of the earth preaching about it. And that's why I'm so passionate, because I see the end result. I see what he can do for people, you know? And I think it comes to your point of knowing that you truly believe in your product and your service and your message and your company and your mission or whatever. And I think that's a huge step, because you're truly helping people with what you got going on. Now, something I really want to talk with you, which we mentioned a little bit when it comes to the persistent part, and this comes when it comes with the closing, the sale or closing the deal or whatever it is. And I think this is such an important part of sales, because building the relationship with the person or the client or the customer or whatever, I think it's easy. It comes in a natural way. But a lot of people struggle with the closing because they don't like to ask for what they want, and usually comes in a numbers way, in a money way. You know, they don't like to tell somebody else, hey, yeah, I want to help you and everything, but it's gonna cost you like $1,500. I don't know if you want to do it or something. So I think closing is a huge thing. I think everything else, like starting, building the relationship, educating the customer on your product and everything, I think is the easy part. But I really want to talk with you on the closing part. I want you to bring the statistic, because I don't want to forget about that part, because I want people to understand how important is the closing part. When you already have the foundation, you believe in the product, you care about the customer, you've done your due diligence and being an expert in your field and everything, you want to help the person, whatever. Closing is huge. So let's jump into this one.
So this is a stat on follow-up, and it has to do with the closing, right? So follow-up, I think about that as asking for the business and staying in front of the customer multiple times. Follow-up isn't truly a follow-up unless you are going into that call with a purpose and asking the customer for what you need. But 85% of salespeople make 3 contacts with a customer and then they stop. But over 80% of sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. So you have this.
Can you repeat that again, the last part? Because I think it's so important.
Oh
bro.
my gosh, 80% of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact. So
5th of 12. That's a lot of interactions and numbers that we see each other. That's a lot.
it is.
Yeah.
It could be a phone call. It could be an in-person interaction, but they're touches, right? So those contacts, they could be phone calls. It could be emails. It could be a text. It could be an in-person meeting. But what you're doing is creating trust with your customer. And the whole reason I going back to relationships like you talked about, I want to talk about relationships because I think it's incredibly important. If you're selling a product you believe in, you're gonna build a relationship because you're thinking about the long term with the company,
Yeah.
or with your customer. Excuse me, long term with that customer, because in order to grow revenue, you can do a few things. You can either go and get new customers. That is the most expensive way to do it.
Yes. Which is what most people do a lot. They just spend a lot of money in finding new people.
Just constantly, right?
Yeah.
So you have this crazy churn, and your first customer is always your most expensive. You can get your customers to buy more often, so frequency, or you can get customers to buy a more expensive product, so upsell. And both of those last two, either upselling to a more expensive product or package, or more frequency, meaning they buy more often, that is going to be your really
Cheapest option.
Oh my gosh, that's where your big profit is made.
Yeah.
Because at that point the customer already knows it works, and you don't have to spend a whole lot more money keeping them as a customer if you've done a good job on the front end, building a relationship, building trust,
Building the customer experience too.
well, and then backing up, right?
Yeah.
You're delivering what you promised.
Yeah.
If you don't, then good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. We've all had that. But I think the reason why so many people, they come in, they think that they're going to be great salespeople, they build these amazing relationships, and then they don't want to ask for the business, is because they're too focused on relationships and not enough on why they're actually there, why they're actually having the conversation. I tell my guys this all the time, and also when I train with other companies, I always remind them that you're not on the phone or meeting with this customer or emailing them because you're going to get your families together and go have dinner and drinks later. The whole reason why you're interacting is to do a business transaction. So I don't want you to think about this as only transactional, but remember why you're having the conversation. The relationship is how you build the trust to get them to say, okay, I'll give this a shot. I trust you enough, because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust.
Make a friend, make a sell.
Just that. And if you believe in your product, then it should be natural.
You're providing a solution to a certain problem. Yeah.
It should be
It's
natural.
you have a moral obligation to close the deal.
Exactly. You should just ask, and if you will, right? It's like people are afraid that someone's going to find out why they're actually talking because we want to do business together. That's what you're paid to do, man. That's what, and they know that. They know the customer knows that. They expect you to ask for the business. Now, at the same time, and we're going to talk about process, you also should, if they're expecting you to ask for the business, they are naturally going to say no, usually that first time. And you also have to expect that. That's just normal. That's how a customer feels safe. I always do that. I get calls all the time from salespeople.
And it's a normal thing because, like, if you think about right now, like, with sales, like, before in the past, like, how many businesses and people, like, screw people over, the product wasn't good. Like, people have trust issues right now when it comes to buying services or products or programs or whatever. So, like, that's why you got to do the extra mile and be super persistent if you truly know that you're providing a solution to a certain problem of a person, especially if you know that the person you're talking to has a problem that you can solve it. You have a moral obligation to solve that problem. If you have something to help them out with, you know?
You're going to make their lives better.
Yeah,
without
100%.
A doubt. Without a doubt. It's just that. Because at the end of the day, I love what Zig Ziglar says. He's absolute sales master, and he said, you can have anything in this life that you want if you help enough people get what they want.
Yeah.
It's the fact. It's a fact. People are willing to part with their money if you can improve their lives in some way or another.
Why do you think people have a hard time asking for what they want? When we talk about, like, for example, if I'm like, oh yeah, Taylor, this is like $50. Why do I have a hard time telling you it's $50 and asking for $50? What do you think that principle people have a hard time with?
Well, I think it's one of two things. One, it might be ingrained in us from little kids. Hey, don't ask for money. Don't ask for things. Girls should be seen but not heard. All these things that maybe they come generationally from our parents, but maybe they pass them down to us, and we're holding on to that stuff that's no longer applicable. So it could just be our conditioning as kids. I think that's a big part of it. But the other is, if we don't see enough value in what we're selling to say, oh, this is worth $50, then it's hard to go and ask for that. What do you think?
I think you made a great point. I think I think it's the value that you're providing. Because again, if you don't sell yourself in what you're providing and the value that you can provide to certain people, you're not going to believe it. Yeah. Like, this is the thing. Like, you don't have to make people believe in their product. You have to make people believe that you believe in the product.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Well,
because if you feel that I believe what I'm saying, I believe that 100%, you're going to believe me. Because you trust me. There's a relationship. Like, you know what? I'm going to trust Ben. He says this is good for me. He's the best. I'm going to do it. And then you're going to try. You're going to believe me. Like, you know what? This dude was right. You know? And I think that's why the persistent part is so important. I mean, I got this kid that I was telling you that once we started finding manufacturers for 20U and everything, I spent like 4 to 6 months trying to find one. And this 18-year like kid from Asia like took the time to get to know us. We built a great relationship. And dude, this kid was super freaking persistent. Like, I think Asian people or Chinese people, like, that's something I admire from them. Because they just ask you for what they want and they're persistent, bro. Like, this kid would call me like every other freaking day. And like, I got to the point that I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll do it. You know, and I'm glad he was so persistent because they provide a phenomenal product. Yeah. They've added so much value to our company and the manufacturing process of what we got going on. And they have amazing products. So I'm really glad that he was persistent. So I think when you have the right intention, you start with the end in mind, and you know the value that you have, like, you have to be persistent. It's all like a mental mindset thing.
It is.
And yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people, again, they're not persistent because, I mean, obviously there's a lot of reasons. I think the first one, as you said, they don't know the value of their product, whatever. I think another one is that they just want an easy sell. They expect things to be easy and given to them. And I think the third one too is that they want a quick, like, easy money, like get rich quick. Yep. And that is like, oh, I'm going to make $1 million in 6 months, 1 month. No, it's like, dude, it takes time, you know? So I think it's a mindset thing at the end of the day, you know? So
it is. I think back to when I started my career in the financial world. I saw these numbers and the deals that were getting done and getting into my first few opportunities to bid, being multi-million dollars. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never sold a product that big. And so I had dollar signs in my eyes for sure. But was it quick and easy? Absolutely not. It takes persistence, it takes skill set, and it does take an understanding of your product so that you can be sold on it. Because I loved, as you were talking about your product, how you get excited.
Bro, I get fired up.
You do.
I get fired up, bro.
It excites me about the product to think, okay, I mean, as we talked, right, after I met with you for lunch last time, I went and bought some shorts. I bought, and you gave me this awesome hat as well, and they're amazing quality. But I was like, man, if you believe in this so much, I'm going to check it out. Well, hey, you backed it up with a great product. I got the product. I was like, this is actually fantastic. It's my new favorite pair.
I truly believe with all my heart he's like the best in the freaking market. And not just because we manufacture, because I truly believe that, because I've compared it to another brands and stuff.
Well, you do the endurance sports as well. And so I've done some long runs in those. Awesome. TMI, but there's nothing worse than chafing, and then you still got 5 or 6 miles to go. Or more. But it's just that, right? The excitement, I think, comes from actually knowing your product well enough that you see the value yourself, and then you can get behind it. And having the value yourself, right? And that comes, if you know the value you provide, you're always going to be excited about the products you're sharing, because you're knowing, hey, it's not just the product, but you also get me.
And even though, even if you're excited about your product and stuff, I think still people have a hard time when it comes to the closing part. Mm-hmm. So... And I think it's normal that you're going to suck in the beginning, but that's why it's so important to build momentum.
Yes.
And just get good at it, because it's a skill, especially closing. Now, I really want to get your take on it. Like, what are some specific stuff that people can apply to flow and be more natural when it comes in the closing part and not make it awkward? Sure. When they're asking for the money or they're closing the deal, or if it's a big deal or whatever. Like, what are some tips that you can give to people to make it flow better and be more natural?
I love that you brought up momentum, because closing, if you've been in sales at all, you've heard the ABCs of sales. Always be closing. And I always used to think that was corny, but now that I train people, I'm starting to understand the value of that sentence. So to be more natural, you just like anything else, you have to practice. If you want to get good at anything, you have to practice. You have to ask for XYZ, whatever the product is or whatever you want to happen consistently. But I think a lot of people, they struggle to close because they don't know what their next step is. They don't know what they need from the customer. So the first thing that I like to do for any company is have a clearly defined sales process. What is the next step? So a customer comes in the door. What is the next step? Some people it's straight to sell. Some people it's a proposal. Some people it's we're going to go in the business and evaluate what it is that your actual needs are. There's a lot of different things that could be that next step. If you don't know what clearly what the next step is, it's very hard to know what to ask for. So if you know what the next step is, then it should be pretty natural to just say, here, let's take you to the next step. Let's make XYZ happen. Second thing is just realize that if you're building a relationship, you're building a relationship, you're creating trust, just like you said, it's your obligation to ask. So just ask, right? Use an open-ended question, who, what, when, where, how. That keeps it open-ended versus the yes or no.
We'll say that again.
So an open-ended question, you use who, what, when, where, or how to begin that question. So for instance, in my business, right, we sell money. So I'm going to ask, what are you buying that I can show you a proposal on?
He funds business, just so you guys know. It's not that he's actually selling money. Like
that's right.
I'll sell you $100 for $2,000.
Yeah. Well, what we do is we provide funding, but we just do it faster. We provide more flexibility. We do it easier than a bank. So if companies want to grow, banks have a very tight box you have to fit in. And we look at a business.
Dude, am I actually you're gonna have to sell me on it, because I'm actually looking for that in our business and everything.
I can definitely help you there, because we work with mid-market companies. So my entire career has been spent with businesses doing 25 million or more in revenue. But I'm actually,
I don't know where that.
Well, I just started a business that the ink is still drying on the LLC, where I'm going to be helping a lot of businesses in that $0 to $20 million range, equity and debt, so that they can grow their business. So yes, Ben, we're going to talk, and I'm going to help you.
But I feel like those are the best sales, when they're natural.
It is.
Because I still have a hard time being pusher. He's gonna. That's why I like the natural sell. Mm-hmm. That I don't even have to sometimes ask for it, but it just happens. Because I'm just over delivering. It's just so great. Mm-hmm. And I think talking about closing and stuff. I don't know, dude. Again, I think it's a mental thing. I think if you make it a big deal, it will be a big deal. Mm-hmm. If you think you're asking for a lot of money, then the customer's gonna feel he's making me feel that it's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But if you're it's just $1,000, how do you want to pay?
Yep.
And you just make it a simple thing. Just as you said, it's a simple process. If you make it simple, it will or whatever. A simple closing. So
well, and I like giving people choices, right? So if I know that my next step is getting people to pay, it's just that simple. How do you want to pay? Visa or MasterCard, right? And that's when I was doing door-to-door sales, that was my close, because I'm just taking two very common credit cards and saying, which one do you want to use? Just making it easy, giving people still the choice, so they feel like they have control over this. But at the same time, I think about this is the most interesting thing that I think people miss when I think about closing is, who do you think, Ben, is in control of a conversation? The person asking questions or the person doing all the talking?
Oh, the person asking questions, the person who's selling, for sure.
So that's the thing. If you're
in control,
you have to stay in control. And Chet Holmes, he's one of my favorite sales guys to listen to. He started out in the furniture business. He said one of the first things I learned is you have to stay in control of the deal, of the sale, of the customer, or else you'll lose that deal. So he said a customer would say, where do I find the TVs? And he said, right over this way. Let me take you over to the furniture set first. And you take back control. You go show them something different. And I thought that was so funny. I thought, what? But because we talk to businesses, we talk to gatekeepers all the time. And their whole goal is to keep you out. That's the first person that you deal with where you have to start to close. And they'll say, I'll tell them who I am and who I'm calling for. And then they'll usually ask a question like, why are you calling? Now, what they're doing is they're trying to take back control. And for me, I have to do the same, right? Who am I speaking with? I'll just ask a question. It's not rude. It's not mean anything else, but I'm taking back control of that conversation. So
Yep.
same thing here as you're in the closing process. Hopefully you have just got yourself in this, you talked about momentum, this natural progress of keeping control of a deal. So when it's time to ask for the business, that's the natural next step to keep yourself in control, right?
100%. And I think the root of all of it comes with just a confidence thing.
Confidence is the currency.
Dude, 100%.
Yep.
And I something that I also want to add, because a lot of people think when it comes to sales or whatever, like they think that you have to have like a friendly personality or like high energy or like super extrovert, but not really, dude. I think, well, I think I feel like I'm more like am I an extrovert? I think it depends. I feel like I'm both sometimes.
I'm definitely both.
I think it really depends.
Yeah.
Do you feel you're more like an introvert or an extrovert?
My wife's a total introvert, so I know what it's like to be around an introvert. I am an extrovert, but I also, instead of just always energized, extroverts I think get energized when they have interactions with others.
Okay.
For me, I enjoy interactions with others, but it does burn out my energy after a bit. So I also have to take those breaks where I'm just by myself.
Because a lot of people, they think like to be good at sales or closing or whatever, they have to be like freaking like Grant Cardone's energy type of thing. But it's not how it is. Or like car salesman, like, hey, how you doing? Like, how's like, no, dude. Like, you can be like the shyest person in the world, and like if you're a confident dude or a confident girl, you can be great at sales.
Oh yeah.
Because like I think at the end of the day, it comes to a confidence thing.
It does.
Regardless if you're introvert or extrovert or like your personality. Like I'm not even from here. Like English is still a thing, but I can still talk to people and like sell and everything. Because I'm a confident dude, I'll figure it out. Regardless if I'm making a fool of myself, you know. So.
Well, it's funny because I think about as any of us start in any business, we have no. If you're doing sales and you're starting to sell a new product, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're just hopefully going out, sharing it with confidence, and hoping that somebody else gets what you're saying.
And dude, I think confidence is huge. I've seen people that suck at sales, but just because they were confident, do great. Like they missed all the stuff that we're talking about, like, but they were just confident and they sold stuff. Like honestly, I think like just to make it simple, just be confident. I mean, but all these stuff create confidence, like the product, knowing what people want and everything. I think it's a huge thing.
But confidence is how you say something is more important than what you say in a big way, right? No amount of confidence is going to, I think, take the place of asking for what you want or what you need. But if you can ask with confidence, even if you suck at everything else, or what you say just doesn't make a lot of sense, your likelihood of a customer saying, sure, I'll give it a try, goes way up.
100%. And that's something that I've seen in my life, and that's why I love people and working with people, because I feel like and something I've been able to discover, like my biggest strength is conviction, speaking with conviction. Because it's way different if I tell you, yeah, Taylor, like, yeah, they're good. Like, yeah, I mean, you're going to love like 20U, these shorts or whatever. But if I'm like, dude, I promise you that this thing is going to change your life.
Yes.
I promise you this message is going to change your life, because I've seen it in my life. You make people feel something.
Yes.
You know? And people can feel that. I think it all comes down. I'm a huge believer when it comes to energy. And people can believe your energy, can feel your energy. If you have a weak energy and you're soft and stuff, I'm not going to buy from you, bro. Yeah. I'm not going to do anything that you're telling me to do. But if you come with conviction, with power, with belief, with confidence, I'm going to believe that you believe what you're saying. Well, and I'm just going to follow that.
It's contagious. It's contagious.
You bring that energy with the people.
People will forget what you told them, what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Say that again. That was good. That was good.
And I didn't make this. I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but people will forget what you said long after you said it, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And I'll look this up and we can talk about it later, but exactly what you're saying when you talk about energy and verbal cues, and also verbal cues, what we say, but also body language cues. You're either going to make someone feel comfortable, or you're going to make them feel uncomfortable by your body language, by your verbal cues.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it for sure. But I think when you focus on building your confidence, your body language and all of that comes in a natural way. Because if you start inside, then your body and the way and how you move and everything, how you act, whatever, it's just the internal will influence the external at some point. It's gonna change your physiology if you focus on the internal. Is there anything you want to share with that? Because I have another point that I want to talk when it comes about sales and stuff.
I was looking to see if I could find some of the. I was looking for just the percentages here of as far as verbal cues and body language, how much of that people pick up on and influences people as you sell. But I'm struggling to find that quickly. So we can continue moving forward.
We can go back to it at the end of this. But the next topic I want to talk when it comes about sales and everything, and I think it's related to closing, is overcoming objections. And that's something that I want you to talk about, because we made a list of a few things. Because again, a lot of people, they will reject you. And if you believe in the product, if you know you're bringing a solution, if you see a problem that you can solve, you have to overcome those objections so you can truly help your customer, your client, or the person you're working with. So what are a few things that we mentioned was listen, pause, empathy, futures versus benefits. Which one you want to start with?
We'll put it all together. I want to talk a little bit about objections though, because a lot of salespeople, right? I get calls all the time from salespeople. And I think this is the most interesting thing. They call me, they pitch me on this product they want to sell, and then I tell them no, and they go, okay, have a great day. I get that more than you could imagine. I get hundreds of emails every week. I get tons of phone calls because people want the company I work for to partner with them on something. And for me, I think confidence comes from, really it starts from within, because you're prepared. I think about this anytime I go publicly speak. When I started speaking publicly, it's interesting. If you're not prepared, you're nervous as can be, because you're worried you're going to forget something. You're worried that you're going to mess up, and then you typically do. Preparation, if you prepare properly before, even if you don't have notes, anything, you're going to go out there, you're going to feel confident, you're going to deliver your message in a way that just is going to blow people away. Yeah. And so same thing with sales. Being prepared, having a plan is what's going to give you confidence. And that's, I think, the biggest issue that most salespeople they just miss. They don't have a script. They don't know what they're going to say. They don't have a plan.
Well, what do you mean by having a plan when it comes to sell?
So just knowing that you're likely going to get an objection. You're likely going to have someone say no. Hey, it's too much money. Hey, I don't have time. Hey,
okay, so that's what you mean.
The plan. It's what are you?
What can you do to prepare for that though?
So it's just that you having a plan in place, having a script to know. So we follow a really simple process at our company, and I think this is just a great process because I'll talk about using it in business. I'll talk about using it, say,
with your girl.
With our girl, exactly.
I don't have a girl, but like you guys can use it for your girl, and
so
if you're a girl, you can use it for your dude.
Exactly, and you're welcome. You're welcome. But the first is just listen actively. Let the person finish talking, and don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. Just listen truly to what they're saying. Take some notes. I always recommend taking notes of the highlights, and then pause. Most of the time, salespeople, we want to talk. We want to share our product, and if you're passionate about it, even more so. So the person stops talking, you got to dive right in and let them know why it's a great product. Yeah. Pause. Just give it a second. Let them know that you're listening, and allow them to finish. Maybe they're just thinking for a moment. It's powerful. Next is empathy. And this was one, as I went from doing door-to-door sales to doing business-to-business sales, that I was not very good at. I hadn't been trained on. I had to learn this one. And empathy just is an acknowledgement. I hear you. I'm with you. I understand. Something to let the person know that not only did you listen, but you are there with them.
Dude, I love these points because I think the root of these points that you're making is that you're showing that your customer, your client, or whatever you're doing business with, is that you care.
Yes.
That you care about them, and that you're willing to listen to their needs or what their problems are to see how you can help them, or maybe be more flexible when it comes to a payment stuff or something. Exactly. I love these points. I think they're so important.
Well, it's just that, because now, again, it's not just transactional. You're building a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think of empathy. I'm putting my arm around them saying, we're partners.
It's like, dude, I'm on your team. Because, dude, when it comes to sales, when it comes to sales, like a lot of people is like, they think it's like custom, you versus me.
Yes.
But it's like, no, you got to make the customer feel like you want the best for them in a genuine way. Not because you just want like the money or whatever, the transaction, but it's like in a genuine way. I want to help you. I'm on your team, bro. Yes. I want to say you win. Because if you win, I win.
Just
Yeah.
that's it. Again,
Yeah.
going back to, you can have whatever you want if you have enough people get what they want. And when you think about that and you go, okay, well, we're partners. Let me help you get what you want because it brings me closer to my goals. It brings me closer to my income goals if I get enough of these sales. By helping you get what you want, you're happy, I'm happy, we all win. Feature and benefit is next. So a lot of people, they're very feature heavy. This is what our company does. Our company is the best because of XYZ. But they forget that people buy because of selfish reasons. We are selfish as humans. That's what's kept us alive for as long as it has. We have to be selfish. So what's in it for me? What's in it for them? Whiffed. What's in it for them? That's the benefit portion of this. This is what we do great. This is what it means for you. And then close is the last piece of that. Ask for the business. What can I show you some numbers on? What is it going to take to give you a demo of this product right now? What do you need to happen to sign on the dotted line today? Whatever that looks like, right? What would you like to pay with, MasterCard or Visa, right? So thinking about an open-ended question as a close.
And remember, again, for you guys, what you said in the beginning when we started talking about like closing is that 85% of sales happen in the 5th to 12th transaction, interaction.
Interaction, yep.
So it's going to take some time.
It's going to take time.
I mean, I think it really depends on the product you're selling. And because for example, like door to door is really interesting for me because I don't know, like when I was talking to Derek and stuff, because I'm like, the sale I like, it's the natural sale that it happens over time and through the relationship and everything. But when it comes to like a first interaction and you're never going to have to see them again, there has to be some techniques and strategies and more stuff that you got to do in a short period of time. Yeah. Or when people come to your store or whatever. There's different stuff. But I think like what we're talking about here is going to help people have a really, really good foundation in the sales process for sure.
And we're talking, it doesn't give a limit on what the cost is there, but you think about pest control, right? I'm selling a $250, $500, maybe $1,000 product max. I might have a couple follow-ups, but you really want to close that as quickly as possible, just because your commission on those deals are going to be much smaller than, say, if you're selling a $30,000 car or a $100,000 car, selling something for $1,000.
Yeah, so it's just like all of these, you got to do it faster. You got to build the trust faster. You got to make them like realize that you care faster on this stuff. So it's just
you have to, right? And it's just that, and then, but regardless, follow up is such an important part of any successful salesperson. Now, I think that you can reduce, and that's the whole point of this technique, is I want to compress the time because I think time kills deals. If there's too much time,
I was gonna ask you about it. Like, what's your time frame? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Like, if people be like, "Oh, I want to take some time to meditate, to think, to talk to my wife, to talk to my husband, or whatever about it."
Yep.
What's your take on it, like time wise?
So, first and foremost, I'm just gonna ask, what's gonna change between now and when you speak with your wife, right? Who makes the decisions in your household? Is it you or is it your wife? Because if I'm talking to just a consumer, I'm going to push them to make a decision then, because if they're interested in this and they're saying, time kills deals. It just is what it is.
Time kills deals. I like that.
And so for me, I just want to better understand who actually makes the decisions in the household, who actually carries the pocketbook when you guys purchase things. Is it you or is it your wife? For guys, I'll usually challenge a guy on that because their ego will usually get in their way. It's me. Okay. Well, hey, if you're the guy that carries the pocketbook, then let's go ahead and get this written up today. How do you want to pay?
And maybe even with time, like a lot of people maybe like that are selling, they might think, oh, it's their thing. Like they need time to meditate. Maybe the problem is that you didn't give them all the information they wanted. Because like, for example, if I'm trying to like close a deal with you and you're like, yeah, I need more time, I'll be like, dude, I'm the only person that can give you and provide you the information about our product and service. So what else do you want to know so you can have the full information about our deal or product or service, whatever, so you can make a better logical decision that is beneficial for you. So, how can I help you more? How can I serve you more? What questions do you have? Maybe there's a question or a problem that you haven't solved. And that's why they don't make the decision right away. So I think it comes back to the person that's selling something,
So going back to closing, I like to trial close. You can ask what questions you have, but I think in a lot of cases it just brings up questions. A customer may not have any questions. They may feel ready to sign or buy, and if I go, hey, what questions do you have? I think a lot of times they go, oh shoot, I need some questions. I better ask them. So sometimes I find that I can stand in my own way there, but I will ask along the way and just trial close and say, hey, do you have enough information to make a decision?
Okay,
And
that's a good one.
so if the answer is no, then okay, well, help me understand. What gaps do we have? What areas can I better explain for you? If you're saying, hey, I need to talk to my wife, right? And it's I can go a couple routes with that, or my husband. I can either say, hey, who makes the decisions, or I can actually go a step further and say, why don't you call him right now? Right? That way I can help you and I can help answer any questions she has while you have me here at your disposal.
Okay.
So I can take another step there to try and make things happen right then. Now these are for smaller products. Our average deal size in my company is about $1 million. So it's going to take longer than just a day, because obviously we have to agree on terms. There's underwriting that has to happen. We have to go through legal documentation where I'm dealing with lawyers to get everything written in a place that protects us and protects the customer. And so, with that, there's going to be a lot of contacts. So I want to, again, keep things momentum. I'm going to be staying in front of that customer as much as I can by always knowing what the next step is and then scheduling that. So I always want to stay on a customer's calendar, right? If I know what next steps are, and if there's something that they need to go talk to their board or the CEO or whatever else, then I'm going to know exactly when they're going to be speaking with them, or else going to be telling them, hey, let's schedule a call where we can talk with the CEO. Let's talk with your board as well. That way we're addressing all questions and we can move this deal forward right after.
At what point you're like, you drop the person? Because again, you want to be effective with your time.
Yes.
I think something great about salespeople is that they're really good with how they use their time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think
Hopefully.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like you can drop them as long as you've done like all the stuff and persistence and the follow-ups and everything. But what's kind of like your indicator of like, what, I gotta move to somebody else to close the deal in this one, because like I'm not gonna waste all my time and energy on this person that actually is undecisive.
Right.
I gave them everything. I did everything in my part. What's kind of like your indicators in order to do that?
So I'll usually ask just a simple question, so I'm not offending someone by saying, are you the decision maker? I'll just say, what's your process? Who else is involved in making decisions? Okay. And that way they can tell me who's all involved in that decision-making process. And I'll usually ask, who's going to be the actual signer here?
Do you ask that in the beginning or at the end?
Well, at the beginning, because at that point, we've presented our terms, and now we're trying to get a signed term sheet. We still have to go through the underwriting process, documentation.
But in that way, you're not talking to the wrong person, too.
Right.
I'll get that. Yeah.
Because if you're not talking to a decision maker, that's the thing people I think forget, is that if you're talking to a person who can only say no, you're never going to close the deal. You have to talk to somebody who can say yes.
That's key.
It's like core at the root of sales. If you're not talking to someone who can say yes, then stop wasting your time. Yeah, literally. So qualifying, you have to qualify that the person you're speaking with is actually someone who can buy your product, afford your product, and also can say yes.
Dude, okay, we didn't even plan to talk about this, but I think what you're saying right now is huge. Because, yeah, we talked about sales and everything, but you got to understand that not everybody's going to buy your product. No. And you got to find the right people. Mm-hmm. The qualified leads, Dude, that's a good one. Fine, I'm going to write. Dude, I love this episode. It's been going really good. I've learned a lot.
Good. Well, excuse me. One of the things as I consult with businesses that we talk about is I want to understand what sales channels they're using and who their target audience is. And are they selling to their target audience? Because you'd be surprised more often than not how many companies are not actually selling to their target audience, not actually
Who's your target? Who's your ideal customer?
Yeah. What's the demographic? Is it male? Is it female? What ages? And are you marketing?
How much money do they make and stuff like that?
Yep, exactly. Where geographically?
Because you're not going to sell me like a 15 million product or something if I'm only making like a couple hundred a month or something like that. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Yeah. No, it doesn't. Because you legitimately can't afford it. But if you're talking to the right person or to the right your target customer, and if you continue to target the right customer, you're going to have sales. Not everyone's going to say yes, and no reason to be offended by that. But if you're not talking to your target audience, then you're probably going to have a failing business, and that's the reality. That's because why do most businesses fail at the end of the day? I think it's really comes down to cash flow. That's the whole core of my business, is making sure that businesses, if they have a good product, that they can survive. And that's two things. It's having enough revenue, it's cash flow, having enough revenue to cover their expenses, especially as they grow. And two, having enough access to capital to be able to perform for their customers so that they can get enough inventory, or they can buy the machinery, or do whatever it is that they need to do, hire the right people so that they can go perform on contracts, they can go perform for their customers, so that when the salespeople bring a customer in, the business and operations can actually perform for that customer.
Dude, I think what you're talking about now is so freaking important. And I don't think people talk a lot about it in sales, because, oh, you sell everybody. No, you can't do that.
No.
Only a few people that qualify for your business or product or whatever. Now, this is my question for you. What if you can qualify them? Is that something you take time, or how do you consider that? Because, like, let's say, for example, okay, you have your target audience, but there's somebody who could be potentially a target audience, like could get to that point. They just need a little bit of help or financing or whatever. Do you take the time to do that, or you focus more on your qualified people? I mean, what's your process on that?
So, I mean, I would think like an influencer, sure. So maybe in our business, right, we're targeting CEOs, CFOs, and founders of businesses. So I would look at it, an executive assistant as an influencer, someone who cannot say yes, but hopefully if you get them on your side and they can see the value, they will also help you sell that product.
Let's say in your business, a company, okay, you're talking to the CEO, but they're not making enough revenue so they're not qualified to work with you guys.
Yep.
But they still want to, though. Like, would you take a time though, or how do you?
I just can't. There's people that want to work with us every day that don't fit our model. I don't have a home for your deal. I legitimately cannot provide you with our services because you're not our target market. You're not our
dude. I think that's so important, because like if you tell me no, like I think that if you go to the principle of that, for example, if I'm like, oh dude, can I work with you? Not really. Maybe keep working. We'll talk in like a year from now. Like keep working with your business. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, you were so honest with me. I think that's amazing. Like it also creates this trust factor that like you're telling me the truth,
right?
You know, and you're not just trying to sell everybody. And I think it builds the trust factor for sure.
Well, it's for me. I look at it as my time's very valuable. Their time's very valuable, and I never want to be someone that's considered as a time waster. Everything I do, I try to be intentional and be purpose-driven. Have urgency.
I'm taking notes, bro. I'm taking notes.
Well, it's the whole thing you're about. Have urgency.
Yeah.
If someone calls me and needs something, or if I'm calling someone, I want them to take my call because they know I'm not there to waste their time. I have a purpose and an intention behind that conversation. And so that's why my customers continue to take my call. That's why my prospects, they'll take my call. Because I'm not there to just BS and waste their time and then get off the phone and they go, man, you took so much energy away from other things I had to do and left me with nothing. That's never the type of person I want to be considered. So I'm going to be honest with people. And yes, that sucks to turn business away. I want to help everybody. But if you know who your target audience is,
but if you want to help everybody, you're going to end up not helping anybody.
Exactly right, and especially not yourself, and especially not your family.
Yeah.
And in sales,
because you only have so much energy, time, and resources to help someone.
It's time.
So you got to be peaking. I think what it also produces on the person, that if you like reject them, I think it produces on them like in their mind like, damn, like these guys like exclusive. Like I actually want to work with them. You know, like he said not to me. Like it affects my ego now. Like you know, like
I'm gonna get there.
It produces two results. Like, all right, screw you, or like, oh, dude, I want to get to the point that I can work with you.
You know, at the same time, I value relationships. So if I know somebody, if I know a individual or a business that can help them, then I'll make an introduction. I'll say, hey, that's not a fit for us, but let me introduce you to Ben, and he can help you. So I'm a huge believer in connections. I don't like burning bridges. You just never know who someone's going to be or when you might need their help later on. So I try to always make sure that I'm still kind to people even and tell them no. And if I can help in a different way by making a connection, I do.
Yeah. I think that's something I struggle because sometimes I burn a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even with you,
I think I'm just like too.
one of my buddies, his name's Ryan Boswell, and guy's just amazing. He's really taught me so much on connecting, because I understand the sales portion of this, but the connecting and building relationships. So every time he goes and meets with somebody, he'll go, what do you do? Who's your ideal client, or who are you looking to meet? And then he'll connect them with someone that fits that, just via three-way text. And so I've started doing that every time I go and meet with somebody. I go, who are you looking for, right? How can I help you? What are you working on? And then I'll try to connect them with somebody that fits those needs. And hopefully that person texts back. Hopefully the person I connected with actually texts back and we'll meet with them. It doesn't always happen, but it's been amazing to see the trust I've been able to build with people just by doing something as simple as that. And at the same time, I'm just solidifying our relationships. So everything's relationships. Business changes, our life changes, what we're doing changes. And I think it's good to have good people that, again, they go, hey, Taylor's a man that adds value.
Do you see if they qualify first and then you give them information, or you give them a little bit of information in the beginning and see if they qualify?
We always qualify. So when you think about lending, right? If you go to a bank and say, hey, I want a loan for $1 million.
See if you qualify.
Right. So what are they going to do? They're going to say, okay, great. Let's get your pay stub. Let's check your credit score. I need your tax returns for the last couple of years. Or if you're a business, then either it's tax returns or your audited financial statements reviews. Same thing. Like, great. We'll talk to anybody. I'm just tell me a little bit about your business, how much you're doing in revenue.
But do you tell them a little bit before, like, kind of what do you guys do before? I mean, not jumping into details, but do you still take the time to like present a little bit of what you have to offer?
Oh, sure. I mean, that's my job. So I'm constantly telling our story. I'm constantly telling companies what we do great and who we are. Because again, I want to make an impression, and I think stories sell. So if I can tell a story of what we're doing for other businesses in their space, then I want to, and they have a project that's a fit. They're buying something that, for me, I go, okay, that's collateral that we finance and we like. Then now I need to understand a little bit more about them to make sure that they're a fit for us.
Bro, I'm loving this stuff. I'm freaking loving it. You have no idea all the like the freaking inspiration I've received, because we're building a program with athletes. And like to see if they qualify, because I don't want to. I mean, you're not going to work with everybody, and I think knowing how to manage your time and your resources and energy, dude, you're good. You're good. You're good at what you do. This is pretty good.
I appreciate it.
Like I can take a bunch of freaking notes.
Well, good. And listen, man, I'm happy to help, and so I consult with businesses on the sell side, and also consult with businesses on the capital side. So, Ben. Yeah, I'll help you any way you need. Just give me a call, man, and we can chat. And if you tell me what you're looking for, we can put the scripts together. We can put processes in place. Whatever you need, man. I got you.
No, this is great, bro. I think, because I mean, you got to understand that, and this is where urgency also kicks in. That you don't have all the time in the world.
No.
So if you can use your time with focus and as effective as you can, I think that's how you win the game, especially in sales. Yes. Like, find the right people and see if they qualify to work for you. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. So it's like, be picky with the people you want to work with, too.
Well, you think about it.
Don't even waste time on those processes, too. I think it's amazing.
If you qualify early, then you can find out within the first few minutes if it's a target for you or not, versus after you've given an hour-long presentation.
That's great.
So it's just part of your process to qualify early. And as long as they're qualified, as long as there's somebody who fits your target. And again, it all comes back down to the first thing. Who is your target audience, and are you selling to that target audience? If you are, then more often than not, you're going to be able to qualify.
No, but dude, for example, for me, this has been now a game changer, because I have a huge heart. I want to help everybody.
Right.
But now I realize that I can't help everybody. I can only help a small portion of people. That's why the qualifying process is so important. When it comes to, like, even with our business with 20U and the programs we're building and the athletes and everything, is like it opened my mind so much.
Well, the cool thing, I think, is the more success you have by focusing on your specialty.
Yeah.
The more money you'll make, the more people you can help. Because all of a sudden now you have more money to invest into projects that are going to help others that maybe don't qualify or aren't a fit for your business, but you can still give them a hand. Just by making more money, by being more successful, you now have the opportunity to donate money, time, whatever excess that you have to make the world a better place and help these other people. So your impact grows by being successful. It is, I love the quote that you had by Jay Abraham, but I think it truly is, at the end of the day, our duty to be successful, our duty to go and close the deal if you have a great product. As a man, I think you truly should take it as an honor and duty to go be successful, to go take care, to protect, to provide for
Dude,
those
it's a
around
freaking
you.
obligation to freaking win in this world, dude.
Yes.
Like even with winning or like making money or being successful, it's like people don't want to talk about it. Like I see on Instagram when like guys show their wins, their cars, and I freaking love it.
Oh yeah.
But like I have one of my friends, like he always posts stuff about like his Lamborghini or like he has a huge truck, whatever. And the other day he posted on his story, he's like, "Oh, I'm not trying to flex or anything. I'm not trying to do that." And I commented on his story. I was like, "Dude, do it.
Yeah, flex,
freaking
man.
flex, bro. You've earned the right to
Inspire
flex.
the rest of us.
Inspires the crap out of me. You know,
Right.
keep winning. Show your wins." And be unapologetic about it, because that's what the world needs. We need winners.
Yes.
We need people who are winning and can show others how to win in their own personal lives too. We're meant to win. God created us to win, and I
Yes.
truly believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell everybody so they can believe in that too.
Well, it's just that.
But it's true. It's a fact.
You should be I mean, again, I don't know what the point of having the stuff is if you can't show it off a little bit. Now, I'm not saying go be cocky and go be this person that everyone hates because you have a terrible personality, but you have money, right? It's not that, but you'll offend some people by being successful, but there are those who will look at what you're doing, they'll be inspired, and they'll say, "Thank you. Now I'm going to go do it."
But even like, and this is my personal take, but like there's some people that they might be cocky or whatever, but like if you have the results to back it up, I'm all for it. Like you've earned the right to be cocky. I don't care. If
You're
you
right.
can if you can deliver, I don't care.
Right.
Some people hate it, but I think because dude, in order to win, like winning in life, being it's hard.
It is.
It takes a lot of ego,
course.
confidence, and freaking sometimes being cocky. Then you learn how to master it, like when you're more mature and stuff. But I think people are just too soft and they get offended by everything.
Oh, they do.
I don't know, but
Well, when I think about success, I think it really simply, you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else, and then go do the work to have the skill set to go perform and win at the level you believe you can.
Yeah.
You've got to believe in yourself before anyone else does. You got to believe in yourself more than anyone else does, and it does take ego to do that. Because how else are you going to keep getting up when you get knocked down? Because inevitably, the road to success is not fast, it's not easy, and you're going to have a lot of failures along the way.
especially if you want to be the best at what you do.
Yes. And if you don't want to be the best, if you don't want to win, I don't even know what the point of trying
You're
is.
you're not our people. You know, this show is all about how to win
Yes.
and teaching people what it takes to win in life and talking about this stuff, because I think we have the obligation to win,
Yes.
to be great. And if you're not doing that, you're failing your purpose. You're failing why God created you. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So
So I'll leave you with just this final thing. This is just a hopefully an easy closing process that I put in place for people. So as you're getting into the point where you're closing, obviously I always want to assumptively ask for whatever it is I want. I'm going to assume, hey, go ahead and sign that proposal. Can you have it over to, can you go ahead and put ink to pen right now? Or can you have it to me this afternoon? So I'm going to assumptively ask for whatever it is I want. If there's an objection, and a lot of times they are, I'm just going to clarify to help me understand. Help me understand why you need a lower payment. Help me understand why you need a couple days to think about this, right? So I'm just going to clarify their objection. Make sure I understand why that's their objection. And just so I also understand, if we can handle this, is there any reason why you wouldn't move forward with me today? Or any reason why you wouldn't move forward with my proposal or term sheet or product, right? So I want to clarify that objection and make sure that's the only objection left. That if I handle that, then we're good to move forward. I'll then handle the objection, and then I'll close again. Either I'll trial close and say, hey, if there's something they want, if I can do that, will you do this? And that's one of my favorites. If I can, will you? Or else I'll just assumptively close, right? Once again, I'll say, handle the objection, say, okay, so now that that's resolved, go ahead and sign that proposal. I'll wait. Will you pass it over once it's done? Yeah. So that's a really simple and easy way to think about a closing process so that you're not getting nervous, so that you're not giving in too quickly. I think persistence is such an important key to success in sales and anything else. Why is it important in sales? Because most people are not going to say yes the first time. When you think about rejection and persistence, I look at even my wife. My wife, I would say, is definitely out of my league, Why is she married to me? Because I am persistent. and I do a good job of building relationships. When we first met, I gave her a nickname and named her Freckleface. She didn't remember me, but she remembered that nickname, which is funny. So when I saw her again and shared that, she went, oh, that's right, it's you. But that opened the door for us to have another conversation, which in turn, she gave me her number and we started talking and we clicked. And so I think about the fact that you're probably going to get, was I rejected when I first met her? Mostly. She was not that interested in me when we first met, which is funny. But she remembered that nickname. We met again, and I was able to, in her eyes, create something that where she said, okay, let me give this guy a chance.
That's interesting.
It is. And I knew what I wanted, man. I knew what I wanted. That was my target audience. I knew that. I knew what I was looking for, man. And so I was persistent in that. And so I take that same principle to sales. I know who I'm chasing after. So I've gotten clear on that. And I know that if there's value to be created, not everyone's going to be a client. If they're not, it's okay. I'm not offended. But if I know I can add value, then I have a plan in place to say, these are the objections that I'm probably going to face. This is how I'm going to overcome them. And I'm not going to give up until I can see that there's no path forward, or a customer just says, I'm never going to do this with you. Where unless they have a really good reason, I'm probably still not going to give up at that point. It's just not how I'm built.
Yeah.
And I've reinforced that through just my daily habits. We talked about endurance sports. I don't do these long runs because I enjoy it. I hate it.
It's a mental thing.
I hate it, dude.
Yeah.
But it's more about reminding myself that, hey, you stop when you're done. You don't stop because you feel like it.
I love it.
Stop when you're finished. So
I love it.
those are kind of my final thoughts. How about you, man? You do a lot of interesting things when it comes to persistence, long distance.
Dude, I think even just this thought just came to my mind. I think, yeah, the persistence part it's huge for sure. But I think if you make a really good job in the beginning and during of building that trust, I don't think you're going to have a lot of objections unless it's a huge deal. I mean, like money, like you have to like see a lot of logistic stuff, in my opinion. But I think if you do a great job in building the trust and building the intangibles and making people feel that you truly care about them, you want to help them, I think that's like halfway through already, like of the deal or whatever you're selling or doing or how you want to solve their problem. And yeah, dude, that was great.
That was fantastic.
That was great. Is there any advice? Because I want to end up with this. Any advice that you want to give to our audience? Could be a live sales, whatever, something that
if you're in sales, I think you got to ask. Really, whatever you're doing in life, just ask yourself why. Right? Why are you doing it? Because I asked myself this one question. I think it's been fairly life changing for me. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want out of this job? What do I want out of my life? What do I want out of my relationship? I ask myself that question all the time to make sure that I'm doing things that are aligned with me internally. If you align your job, what you're selling, your relationships, you align it with who you are as an individual, you align it with your purpose, you're going to find that a lot of the resistance just moves out of the way.
That's crazy.
And you can go be the best you that there is. And that's your duty. Go be the best you that there is. Go surround yourself with people that reinforce the best you that there is and help you level up. And I think if you're doing that, you ask yourself why, what do I want? You're going to find that you're going to go do the things that light you up, that align you with your purpose, and you're going to make an impact. You're going to live a phenomenal life and help a lot of people on the way. So that's my advice.
Dude, that was great. Let's leave it like that. Dude, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for taking the time. I enjoyed the crap out of this episode. It was so damn good.
Thank you.
A lot of people are going to benefit from it. It's a lot of skills, sales, and dude, it's amazing. Follow this guy. We're going to put your social, your Instagram and everything because I loved it. Anyway, thank you for coming, brother. Guys, we'll see you guys later and stay tuned for more. See you guys later.
Peace out.